Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and I recently uploaded a video with 15 Japanese films from the 1990s that you should watch. Well, here are 15 more. Let's do it. Gemini, 1999. This is a drama horror film. Loosely based on the Edogawa Rampo story, this is a sumptuous tale of savage sibling rivalry set in the year 1910. Set amidst the backdrop of a plague that is ravaging the nearby slums. Drawing from a diverse array of genres, including drama, fantasy, and horror, it provides a very distinctive and amazing experience. The feel is similar to a fairy tale in many places, and the cinematography is very nicely done. In addition, the characters are complex and a number of psychological, philosophical issues are presented and dealt with satisfactorily. This film truly excels in its comparison of the higher and lower classes. This is also a good example of how expressionistic acting can work well. One of my favorites, from Shinya Tsukamoto. Love Letter, 1995. It's a romance drama. A woman, grieving over her deceased fiancé, begins to exchange letters from a mysterious person living at his former residence. All of the characters are very pleasant, from the present-day women to the high schoolers shown through flashbacks. The primary conflict that presents itself during the later half is a rarity of sorts, and the unorthodox premise itself just adds to the refreshing feel of the whole movie. Much of the events take place during the winter months, which is a nice touch. An impressive film by Shunji Iwai. Gakko no Kaidan 4, also known as Haunted School 4, 1999. This is a horror film. This film veers completely away from its predecessors in this franchise by scrapping the chased by ghosts in a haunted school premise and opting instead to use a slow-paced spookiness with more classical themes and very little humor. However, the use of elementary school kids as the main characters is preserved here, which is one of the refreshing aspects to this series of films. Even some of the ghosts are mischievous children. The scare tactics here are well executed and very creative. No jump scares to be found. There is a lot of spooky atmosphere as well. Acting by the kids is good. The opening sequence is stunning. And the set designs near the end are excellent. This is considered to be a newer classic by the few people who have seen it, and it's easy to see why. Very cool film by Hideyuki Hirayama. Bayside Shakedown, 1998, a crime drama comedy. A team of cops try to solve a murder case while the rest of the department focuses on the high-profile kidnapping of a commissioner. The humor is created by the many satirical references that criticize various aspects of Japanese culture. The big one is presence of bureaucracy and unnecessary red tape that actually hinders efficiency in the solving of cases. But there are also references to disillusioned youths, bad parenting, internet subcultures, and gun laws. The tone of this film is very nicely balanced as well, because it shifts back and forth between lighter moments and more serious moments throughout the runtime. It really does feel organic, and they actually complement one another. Soundtrack is also quite effective. Refreshingly fun stuff by director Katsuyuki Motohiro. Gonin, 1995, a crime drama thriller. A group of low-level criminals steal cash from the Yakuza, then get hunted down by a hitman in this film by Takashi Ishii. This has a great cast of Koichi Sato, Masahiro Motoki, Naoto Takanaka, Kippei Shina, and Takeshi Kitano. The opening scene of Gonin is a fairly disturbing beatdown in an alleyway. Gives you a good idea what the film is like. This is a dark Yakuza flick that explores the seedy underbelly of urban Japan. The second half does get very violent and disturbing, so watch out. There's an overarching sense of danger and dread that hangs over all the characters throughout the runtime. If you like violent gangster flicks, check this one out. Maborosi, 1995, a drama. After the sudden death of her husband, a woman moves with her son to a remote village and remarries in this film by director Hirokazu Koreeda. There is a lot going on in this film. There's a lot of long, quiet shots, some of which are quite stunning. And the soundtrack creates an absorbing, hypnotic mood throughout. Depending on what kind of viewer you are, this is the kind of film that you can seriously, it'll push your limits in terms of pacing, because it does move quite slowly, but you have to kind of look under the surface a little bit to mine the content. However, I seem to enjoy it more and more after every repeat viewing. This one grows on you. If you're a fan of Koreeda's recent stuff, take the dive, take a chance and check out some of his earlier works. They're good. Himitsu, 1999, a romance drama. After dying in an accident, a mother's personality is transferred to her daughter's body, played by Ryoko Hirosue. This is a very pleasant yet awkward romance, as you might expect. I mean, the husband is caught in a catch-22. There's the obvious problem of engaging in a normal marriage with the body of your daughter, which leads to some sexual frustration and or perverted thoughts, either way. You're caught between a rock and a hard place there. Then there's the problem of moving on and dating another older woman with your wife's spirit constantly looking on in the body of her daughter. So the relationship becomes pretty worn and taxing after a while, but the interaction between the two leads is precisely what makes the film fascinating. Hirosue has some awesome charm and charisma, and her best performances usually come when she's playing outgoing, strong-willed characters like this one. The tone mixes in some humor and is very nice throughout. The ending is memorable in this film by Yojiro Takita. Labyrinth of Dreams, 1997. This is a romance thriller. A young woman falls in love with a bus driver, played by Tadanobu Asano, who is suspected of killing his previous girlfriends. Sogo Ishii has a serious talent for capturing imagery in the most beautiful ways, and this film is no different. Black and white cinematography, dreamy scoring, and deliberate pacing complement the visuals very nicely. The opening half hour is very interesting, but the theme is communicated through a minimalistic structure that will require a bit of patience from the viewer. This is definitely worth a look for its uniqueness and directorial vision. Solid flick. Hana-bi, also known as Fireworks, 1997, a crime drama. This film is about a former cop who must come to terms with his wife's terminal illness, as well as a violent event from his past that left his former partner confined to a wheelchair and suffering from depression. This is a very impressive film from top to bottom. It has well-executed dramatic elements and some gripping moments of tension. It's probably Takeshi Kitano's most highly acclaimed and beloved film overall, which makes it a must-watch for anyone who is interested in this director or Japanese cinema in general. Hakuchi the Innocent, 1999. It's a fantasy drama romance. This is a weird movie that's kind of difficult to describe. I mean, it takes place during an unknown war, focuses on a suicidal director, played by Tadanobu Asano, who befriends a strange woman neighbor while tending to the needs of a conceited pop star, played by Reika Hashimoto, who is idolized by the poor people who live in the ruins of villages that have been firebombed. So how about that for a premise? There are occasional drama, horror sequences mixed in as well, some colorful outfits and set designs, some of which have like a futuristic feel, and an absurd ending. This odd mix of different elements create an unexpectedly entertaining experience. Hashimoto really steals every scene she's in, and the direction is impressive by Makoto Tezuka. Rainy Dog, 1997, a crime drama. This is the second film of Takashi Miike's Black Society trilogy, and it's likely the best of the bunch. The plot line here is about a hitman who builds a relationship with a boy and a prostitute. The first half, a bit slow-moving but interesting. The character development is good enough to make the viewer care for your protagonists, and the gritty mood is engaging with constant rainstorms and urban slum environments. This film lacks the extreme elements that were showcased in Shinjuku Triad Society, and will likely win over most moviegoers who criticize this director for being a bit too excessive at times. Keiho, 1999, a drama thriller. After a stage actor confesses to the brutal murder of a married couple and is diagnosed with multiple personality disorder, a skeptical lady psychiatrist continues her psychoanalysis. Now, despite its pretty slow pacing, peppered with a few violent images throughout, the viewer must pay very close attention, lest they miss something important. Past events are kind of difficult to identify at times, and the script is so relentlessly subtle. Much of the content is not explicitly stated. Nevertheless, this is a very well-made, intelligent, gripping film from Yoshimitsu Morita, that deserves a watch. Basara, The Princess Goh, 1992, a drama. This film by Hiroshi Teshigahara is a sequel to his film Rikyu, and is similar in terms of deliberate pacing, sumptuous visuals, and overall themes. The juxtaposition of political power and artistic refinement is still present, but this is more concerned with plot-driven conflict. There is also virtually no emphasis on tea ceremonies, which is different from its predecessor. The young actress is a spunky girl who adds some flavor during the opening half. Direction is excellent, with beautiful visuals of natural landscapes from start to finish. A nice companion piece to Rikyu, and arguably even more absorbing. Sada, 1998, a drama comedy. This film by Nobuhiko Obayashi follows the life of Sada Abe, who became a celebrity in 1936 after erotically asphyxiating her lover, slicing off his penis and testicles, then carrying them around with her in her handbag for 3 days. Despite the macabre backstory, this film is really quirky, has lots of energy, and is fun to watch. I'm not joking. It's Obayashi, so what do you expect? It stylishly shifts between black and white and vivid color, which is neat. The lead actress is good and quite fetching. There is some clothed sex in this, but almost no violence. The controversial event is not graphically shown in this. I think this is actually more interesting than the more controversial version from 1976. Cure, 1997, a thriller-horror hybrid. Director Kiyoshi Kurosawa perfects the concept of hypnotic villainy in this film, which features a battle of wills between a detective and a genius who uses the power of suggestion to set in motion a series of killings throughout a city, showcasing innovative suspense sequences, plot twists, and rich psychological philosophical concepts. This film will have viewers pondering well after the movie ends. This is a very cerebral, creepy, glacially paced, hypnotic experience. Kurosawa again manages to elude common cinematic pitfalls to contribute not only a chilling masterpiece, but arguably one of the most awesome villains in motion picture history. So there you have it. 15 more Japanese films from the 1990s that you should watch. The titles for the films in this video are listed in the description box below. I'm not providing availability info because most of these films I saw years ago. Availability has changed over time. Usual method for checking availability is Google, so be sure to seek out the films that seem interesting to you. Again, the 90s were a strong decade for Japanese film, and it's going to get even better, in my opinion. In the next video in this playlist, we're going to crack into the 2000s, so stay tuned for that. That was another great decade. And as always, we will see you next time.